All right, here is a quick video on writing domain and range. So let's say you have a number line and we're going to do 0, 1, 2, 3, -1, -2, -3. And I'm going to draw this right here from here to 3. Now, what this line represents is it represents all the numbers from 1 to 3, but not including 1 and not including 3. In other words, 2 would be in there. Also, 2.1 would be covered. Also, 2.9 would be covered. Also, 2.99999 would be covered. Everything up to, but not including 3. So the way we write this down is this. We're going to record this as 1, 3, but because this is an open circle, we're going to use these rounded parentheses. And those rounded parentheses exclude the 1 and exclude the 3 and include all the numbers in between 1 and 3. Now, what if I was to shade in one of these dots? So if I was to shade in this dot, then now that we're going to change this to a square bracket. And the square bracket includes 1, all the numbers from 1, 1.1, 1.001, all the way up to 2.999, but not including 3. But now if I fill this circle in, now that's going to include everything from 1, 2, and 3, including 1 and 3. So the way you write this now is with a square bracket, 1, 3. Okay, so that was stuff you learned last year. What we do now is we're going to take that to 2 dimensions. So you've got a graph that goes like this. And let's say this is 1, let's say this is 7, let's say this is 4, let's say this is 5, and let's say this is, I don't know. Let me change these numbers. Let's say this is 2, and let's say this is 4. Okay, so domain and range. I think the best way of considering domain and range is to package this up and take stock of how big the package is, right? We're going to put this into a square package. That's the only type of package we have. So we've got this thing packaged up like this. What domain and range are really trying to do is they're trying to give a sense of how big the package is from the left and the right and how big it is from up and down. In other words, how much space it takes up. Now, because this is a 2-dimensional object, we're going to record it in 2 different ways. So first of all, the domain. Now remember, domain are the x values. So we're only looking at the x values, and the x values measure how far to the left something is and how far to the right something is. So here, the domain that the box fits in is between 1 and 7. Now the second thing is we look at this and say this is an open circle, so it doesn't ever include 1. It's a little bit more than 1. Right here, this is a filled-in circle, so it will include the 7. We'll give it a square bracket. Now the next one is the range. The range is a measure of how far down and how far up we are. So it's these bounds right here. Now this one got all the way up to 5 and then dropped down again to 4. Now it doesn't matter that it drops down again, we're just looking at extremes. And so the lowest extreme, the bottom of the box, is at 2. The top of the box is up here at 5. And it doesn't matter that it went back down again. Now, because this was an open circle, we're going to give that a rounded. Now, the 5 is interesting because you'll notice there's not a circle here at the top of this curve. It just kind of hits this line. Now, you can't tell from my really bad drawing, obviously, whether that's 4.999 or it's 5, right? Visually, there's no difference between 4.99 and 5. So what we're going to do is we're just going to say that it gets to 5. And the reason for that is because it's really easy to write an equation of something that hits 5. It's almost impossible to write an equation for something that gets to 4.9999, infinitely close to a number, and bounces back down. I don't know how to do it, and so we will say that it gets to the 5. So there's no circle there. It's not a filled-in circle, but we'll give it the square bracket, saying that it got up to and included the 5 before bouncing down again. All right, now let's do a few more of these to practice. Let's say you have something like this. Okay, so for this one, let's talk about the domain and the range. Domain is how far left and how far right. So if we put this thing in a box, we're going to start boxing this up. We're going to box up this side. We can box up this side. But then if I keep on going this way, there's no end to my box. If you keep on going down, there's no end to the box that way. So domain is the left side of the box and the right side of the box. Now let's say this is 5 right here. That's the left side of the box. Now there is no right side of the box, so if I keep on following this line, I'll get to infinity. So that's 5, infinity. Now right here, there's no circle there, but we're just gonna give it the square bracket and say I got to 5. Now for infinity, you never get to infinity, so it's a rounded parentheses. Okay, that is the domain. Now for the range is how low you go. Now here, if you go up here, this is infinity up here. If you go down here, this is negative infinity. So the range is gonna be negative infinity up to, and we end up hitting this right here. We can't get any higher than this. This is the highest our graph goes, and let's say this is 8. And so you have negative infinity to 8. And oh, I did that wrong. That's a filled in circle, so we're gonna give that the square bracket. Okay, let's do a couple more. Let's do something like this. Let's say we have a graph that goes, and let's say this is open. Okay, this is 1, this is 7, this is 4, this is 2, this is 11. So for the domain is how far left and how far right. Let's package this thing up into a box. Okay, so the box goes between 1, that's this side, and 7. It's nicely contained between 1 and 7. Those are my 2 left and right bounds. Now let's talk about my up and down bounds. Let's finish this up. So 1 is going to get a square bracket because this is, oh no, it's not. This is an open circle. That's open circle, so it's rounded. 7 gets a square bracket. And then up and down, the lowest value, we're doing these bounds now, the lowest value here is 2, the highest value is 11. So lowest is 2, square bracket, highest is 11, this one is an open circle, so that gets a rounded thing like that. Okay, this is the domain, this is the range. Okay, that's it.